Despite his enormous fame and wealth, Elvis Presley's contributions to charitable causes were largely kept under wraps, and many of his most heartfelt acts of giving remained a mystery to the public. However, those who were close to him, as well as the recipients of his generosity, know the truth. Elvis's quiet philanthropy left an indelible mark on the lives of many, and his legacy continues to inspire acts of kindness to this day. Following his death in 1977, Elvis's charitable acts became the subject of much discussion among fans, historians, and those who had known him personally. In recent years, there has been a renewed effort to highlight his giving nature, with various charitable foundations and initiatives honoring his legacy. For example, the Elvis Presley Charitable Foundation, established in the 1980s, works to support and enrich the lives of children, young adults, and families in need, echoing Elvis's own lifelong dedication to philanthropy. Elvis's reputation as a loving and giving individual is perhaps best encapsulated by the people he helped during his lifetime. Whether it was the young child suffering from an illness, the struggling single mother, or the orphan in need of love and care, Elvis made sure to make a difference. He believed in the importance of helping those who couldn't help themselves, and in doing so, he showed the world that kindness is truly timeless. Elvis Presley will forever be remembered as the king of rock and roll. His music continues to live on, influencing generations of artists and fans. But beyond his cultural legacy, Elvis's generosity and selflessness are equally important aspects of his life's story. His secret charitable acts remind us that the greatest form of wealth isn't found in material possessions or fame. It is found in the ability to give, to share, and to uplift others without expecting anything in return. And so, while Elvis Presley's songs continue to echo through the years, his spirit of giving remains as relevant today as it ever was. He showed us that true greatness lies not in the adoration of millions, but in the quiet, uncelebrated acts of kindness that leave a lasting impact on the lives of others. The king of rock and roll may be gone, but his legacy of love and charity lives on in the hearts of those he helped, and in the countless lives he touched, both in the public eye and in private. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, is often remembered for his flamboyant performances, timeless music, and larger-than-life persona. His impact on popular culture is undeniable, but behind the iconic sunglasses, the gold records, and the adoring fans, there was another side of Elvis, one that was less publicized, often hidden from the spotlight. While millions of fans around the world saw him as a symbol of fame and fortune, many would be surprised to learn that Elvis Presley was also a deeply compassionate and generous man. Elvis had a long history of charitable acts, though he made a conscious effort to keep these acts out of the public eye. He wasn't the type to seek attention for his kindness, preferring to help others quietly and anonymously. Those closest to him, including family members, friends, and people who had received his help, would attest to his generosity and genuine concern for others, even when the cameras weren't rolling. In an era where many celebrities were quick to flaunt their wealth or bask in the glory of public recognition, Elvis took a different approach. He chose to give without seeking credit, to change lives without the need for applause or acknowledgement. His humility and selflessness became an integral part of his character, which may be why many of these charitable acts remained largely unknown to the public for so long. While some of his charitable work was eventually revealed, the most remarkable thing about Elvis's generosity was that he did not want the world to know. He never asked for publicity and never expected anything in return. It was simply who he was. His belief in giving back stemmed from a sense of empathy and understanding that was rooted in his upbringing and the values instilled in him by his mother, Gladys Presley. In this first part, we will take a closer look at the early years of Elvis's life and how his humble beginnings shaped the way he viewed the world and approached helping those in need. From his modest upbringing in Tupelo, Mississippi, to his rise to fame in Memphis, Elvis always felt a deep connection to the less fortunate. Despite his success, he never forgot where he came from, and this would be the driving force behind many of his secret charitable acts. In the 1970s, Elvis's charitable contributions became more frequent, but he still preferred to keep them hidden from the public eye. One of his most well-known acts of kindness involved anonymously paying off the medical bills of patients who couldn't afford treatment. In fact, Elvis frequently made such donations to hospitals in Memphis, Tennessee, where he lived for much of his life. On more than one occasion, Elvis would visit hospitals and anonymously cover the expenses of patients, including those who were gravely ill or struggling with financial hardships. This was not a one-time gesture. It was a consistent pattern of giving. He would even cover the cost of surgeries for people who were facing medical crises but had no way of paying for the procedures. For Elvis, these weren't publicity stunts or charity events. These were acts of pure kindness, driven by his desire to help those in need. In addition to paying medical bills, Elvis often donated to struggling families, ensuring that their basic needs were met. He would send money to families who had fallen on hard times, and sometimes he would even provide them with food, clothing, and household items. Many of these families were struggling in silence, and Elvis's help came at a time when they were at their lowest point. Yet, there was no fanfare, no camera crews documenting these acts of generosity. Elvis made sure that his charitable donations were done without anyone knowing. One of the most poignant examples of Elvis's secret giving involved a single mother in Memphis. After hearing about her struggles to care for her children while working long hours at a local diner, Elvis stepped in. He paid for her rent, bought groceries for her family, and even provided her with a car so that she could better care for her children. She never knew who had helped her until years later, when she was told by a mutual acquaintance that it was Elvis Presley who had turned her life around in a time of need. Elvis's belief in helping others was not restricted to people he knew personally. He also donated to national and international causes, including charities that supported underprivileged children and those affected by natural disasters. The King of Rock and Roll had a big heart, and he used his platform and resources to support countless causes without ever wanting recognition for it. Perhaps one of the most touching and enduring examples of Elvis's kindness came during a trip to a local orphanage. After visiting the children and hearing their stories, he personally donated funds to ensure they received the care they needed. He also spent time with the children, offering them words of encouragement and hope. The orphanage staff described him as warm, genuine, and deeply caring. Elvis's connection with these children was not simply that of a celebrity meeting fans. It was the bond of someone who truly wanted to make a difference in their lives.